Okay, great. Well, in today's episode, we're going to talk about storytelling and how companies should be utilizing storytelling in their video content. Welcome to episode 3 of Just Press Record, and we have, for today's guest, the very esteemed Shai Knecht.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I'm saying very esteemed because you work for us now. So
yes.
You're very esteemed.
I'm very esteemed.
What do you do for TwoHeads?
I'm the creative director.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Don't know. Don't look it up.
No idea.
No clue.
So a lot of times when it comes to video, I still hear companies talking about storytelling as, I want to tell the story of my company. And I'm wondering what companies should actually be thinking of when they think about telling their story.
The companies that are doing it right are the ones that are actually connecting on an emotional level with their audience. There's a lot of people telling stories, a lot of noise out there, but the companies that are really doing it right are the ones that are actually connecting.
So what would be an example of a company that's telling their story through video correctly?
One in particular that just comes to mind is WeWork, actually. They recently put out an Instagram video. It was a video post that really connected with their audience. It really spoke about their mission. It spoke about what they're doing. Again, it's really about making people care, and it's about that emotional connection. And in this video, they really did that. They connected on an emotional level with their audience, and that's the bottom line. Make people care and get that emotional connection.
One of the things that I think isn't going to be clear to people is, okay, how do I create that emotional connection? So I think one of the things that really struck me when I was watching the WeWork video is how they don't really talk about WeWork at all. It's all about their community, about the people who are in WeWork. In fact, none of the founders are featured, none of the people in WeWork. It's really just community members who are sharing their experiences of WeWork. When companies think about telling their story, they should start with the voices in their audience. That's what's going to resonate with their audience the most.
100%. Another good example of this is Apple. It was all of the cases of people that had the Apple Watch that had literally saved their lives. The video itself was all crowdsourced. It was all from people who actually set up interviews with these Apple Watch.
It was like Zoom calls, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, FaceTime because it's Apple.
Right.
But they have these actual screen recordings of these real people and real stories, and they just told them like it was. Like they said, they woke up, went for a jog, whatever it was.
And you barely see the Apple Watch. Like the product is very limitedly featured.
Just like WeWork. They're not showing the product. They're talking about their audience. People like to be surrounded by people who care about the same things, who like the same things. And when you're talking to an audience about the audience themselves, that's really what's driving this emotional connection. So Apple and WeWork both nailed it on the head.
Okay, so then when we're thinking about telling a story, how has the way that we tell stories changed based off of now every social media platform has some storytelling component, whether Facebook stories, Instagram stories, Snapchat stories. So how has that changed how we as viewers share and want to watch stories?
So Snapchat I think was the first with that like storytelling element that Instagram picked up and Facebook picked up. And if you look across the board, and there's a hilarious meme of Excel stories. It's basically, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, they all have stories, and then the Excel joke is that they also implemented stories. But what's the truth behind that? The truth is that stories, it's the way we communicate. And one of the reasons that we connect with stories so well is because it actually helps us process information that we don't understand.
What would you say is the biggest difference between marketing and storytelling?
The biggest difference between marketing essentially you're trying to sell something at the end of the day. There is a huge difference between marketing and sales. I'm not saying they're both the same, but there's a huge difference there. But the difference between marketing and storytelling is that when marketing you're trying to sell, storytelling you're trying to connect. Again, on an emotional level, but also you can be inspiring or entertaining. Another great example of this is Charity Water, which is an amazing organization. They bring water to third world countries. Really, really an incredible company. But one of the things that they struggled with was they have literally millions, crazy numbers of tribes, like entire communities that literally have no water. But when you say statistics, when you just throw out numbers like that, and you just say something like so intangible like
60
that,
million.
Yeah, like 60 million, you can't comprehend it. You can't understand what that means. So what did? They went down there into these communities and they heard individual stories from people. But the stories that they started pulling out connected on such an emotional level that no advertisement, no billboard, nothing in the world, no statistic could possibly trump these incredible stories. And that's essentially the biggest difference between marketing and storytelling. It's really that, again, the emotional connection.
That's how storytelling is the connecting factor, right? Because you could tell me all of these things, but I don't internalize it until you tell me that story.
Exactly. Make me care.
Make me care.
Make me care.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's ideal. That's essentially what storytelling is just make me care.
Exactly.
Okay, Shai, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for sharing us your insights on storytelling and how companies should be using storytelling in their videos. And we will see you next week for another episode of Just Press Record.